We welcome live in the studio Steve Mikkelson from mixpicks.com. 2Ks in mix, 2Ks in picks. Hello, Steve.
Yay!
Hello.
So good to have you in studio.
Oh, I love it.
And sporting the goatee look.
Yeah, that's what's new.
Yes, it's from having to shave every day of my life from 21 on, and now I don't have to. So I'm not a big fan of it.
Oh, it looks good.
But just this fact that I don't have to shave every single day.
Not only is Steve rocking the sweet goatee, but he's a silver fox now. I'm liking that hair, man.
That happened overnight because you have still had some brown. Like it's slowly been happening in my eyes.
The truth be told here, I started turning gray. And my wife said, you need to dye your hair because I don't want to look like I'm going out with my father. So I want you to still look, and ultimately, she's the one I have to keep happy. So if she wants me to dye it, then I do. But lately, she hasn't said so.
So how did that come about? Did you just start not dyeing it and wait for her to say something?
Yes.
And she never has yet?
Yes. That's how it comes to be.
So will this be a discussion then after this appearance to where because I know she listens to where she says, hey.
She listens every day, and I'm sure that by the end of the weekend, my hair will be dark again.
Or she'll say, actually, I really love it.
Yeah.
You look so, because you're very
It
handsome.
doesn't look bad on you.
Well, thank you, but I don't think she'll go there.
So
it'll be brown soon enough.
So that answers the first question. The graying hair is not the result of either COVID or starting mixpicks.com and all of everything that goes into starting your own business, and even though you love sports and all that.
No, not at all. I've been really enjoying this. I've always been involved in sports, but I've always had to have bosses, and you got your meetings, and you have things that they don't fully understand that, hey, look, it wasn't me who threw the interception that got returned for a touchdown in the last 2 minutes of the game to swing, that game against us. I have no control over that. And now, it's just you go watch the games. I still sweat them out every bit like I used to. But that's part of the fun of it. I mean, that's where you have that vested interest. If you could just watch the game and just, no big deal. Either you're not a sports fan or, you need to up the stakes.
Well, one of the things that I've really found out with working with you just in the infancy of Mixed Picks is that there's a lot of slime balls in that industry. And there's a lot of people that do what you do, and they don't even watch the game then. They're like, what do I care? I don't care if it hits or not. And they're like, people win, people lose, whatever. Blah, blah. Whereas I'm gathering that you put out your picks, and sometimes you put out 3-6 picks in a day, and then you're watching every single game that you've made a pick on, trying to see if you hit it, and probably emotionally invested in an empathetic way for the people that are following you.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the tough parts about getting into this business is it does have a bad reputation. You hear so many stories of, they give out both sides of every game and all these different things. And, that's not what we're about. We want to bring integrity to this. This is about what I personally would bet. And I watch every game. I watch all the other games because, you have to be looking out for the future. Okay, I might have the Giants tomorrow. Well, I want to watch the Giants play today because I'm always looking a day ahead of time to see who I might like the next day or the following day. And you need to watch those games as well so you know whether or not it's a good bet.
Now, we read this on the air. I think it was on Monday's show, and I know I forwarded it to you, but it's worth reading a second time. We got this email from Trevor.
Hi, Trevor.
On Sunday of last weekend. Said, I'm writing as I nurse my hangover after the annual March Madness all-you-can-drinkethon in Reno.
Oh, damn.
Every year, I and a small group of friends consume copious amounts of alcohol, greasy food, and bet on college basketball. In prior years, having little knowledge of college basketball, the majority of my bets and parlays result in me losing money. I don't gamble with a lot of money, just enough to add some vested interest and excitement to the games. I've been a fan of RAD for years. I've always liked to hear Steve Mickelson's opinion on upcoming sporting events. And I've heard you mention Mixed Picks, where he posts recommendations for bets he likes based on his years of knowledge and experience. I decided to give his website a shot with a single-day subscription, and Steve came through clutch for me. Using 3 of his picks, I hit my 3 single bets and also a 3-game parlay. So for a mere $25 investment in MixPix, I got a 20-fold return on my money that paid for my hotel room, food, gas, alcohol, tips, along with a small profit. And I wanted to give credit where credit is due. Thank you, Steve, for giving us maggots a secret weapon to use against the casino odd makers. That had to make your day.
Absolutely. And that's why we do this. I mean, the hope is to, help people make some money, become a little bit more educated on placing their bets on different games. And something like that just, I'll be honest, really makes me very happy.
And 'cause especially when he literally just trusted you. I mean, he admits, I just go up there every year and I lose because I don't know anything. He's like me. I don't know college basketball. So he just gets he pays $25 for the one day, which means he gets whatever you do that day. He might get 1 pick. He might get 7 picks, right? And he sees 3 and he goes, I'm just taking those. And he wins that big where the whole weekend. And that is extraordinary.
It is, because I wish I could sit here and say, hey, look, I win every single day. It's not the case. And, that's one of the reasons we stress, you may want to look at a weekly or a monthly, because it's about the marathon. It's not a sprint. And there are days that I may or may not be very good. Last Monday I went 4-1, but yesterday, I was 1-1.
Boom.
So, we do our very best, because obviously I, like everyone else, I don't want to lose a bet. I mean, I want to win every single bet that I make.
Do you have the updated? Do you know what your percentages are right now? Because I know we've always talked about if you're at 60%, then you are outpacing the entire industry.
I can tell you, since the middle of January, I'm hitting a little over 63%.
Wow,
dang,
that is fantastic.
So for like the last 9 weeks or whatever that is,
and that's the other reason that you never want to lose, is because you need to be able to say to people, look, I'm better than most at this. So this is how this is literally your livelihood now.
Absolutely, and that's why we keep track of it. Again, many of these sites, they just give out a ton of picks because they really don't care. You don't know if they're winning or losing. Their whole goal is take your money, give you a pick. If it wins, great. If it loses, they don't really care. And to me, it's very important. I want everyone to get some winning picks.
I love the email you just read, because I feel like if I were to bet, that's almost like the best kind of better, because he's just there to have fun, doesn't know much about it, but then has this person that he could trust and just look at it and go, oh, and not question it. I feel like sometimes if you're too far into the weeds, you might second guess it, and then you're like, shoot, I should have did what Steve said, but I overthought it.
Next time that I go to Reno or Vegas, I'm going to do a Steve Mikkelson card.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll do one of my own, and then I'll do a Steve Mikkelson card.
Hey, just call me up next time you go to Vegas, and I will be your chauffeur. I will be hanging out with you.
That's
you
true.
will get customized picks with me standing right there.
We should offer that on Mixed Picks for a premium of like $10,000 or something like that.
Just don't use the word escort, because it means something different.
Sorry about that. I will meet you at the destination, and we can go from there.
Leave the money on the table.
So the hot thing right now is March Madness, men's college basketball, and we're down to the Sweet 16. And I know they're calling it the year of the underdog, but 3 of the number 1 seeds are still in it. So what's been your impression of March Madness so far?
Like everything else for the last year, it's been really interesting, because a lot of the conferences just played within their conferences. So you saw the Big Ten beat up on each other. We saw the Pac-12. Nobody thought they were very good. We hit tournament time, and the Pac-12 wins every single game, and the Big Ten's exiting quickly with Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, etc. So to me, it's been much more a year of uncertainty. We all know that Gonzaga is hands down the best team in college basketball.
Of course, Dawn and I were talking about that before the game.
Yeah, that damn Gonzaga.
Yeah,
You just can't beat 'em.
they are hands down the best team. But once you get past Gonzaga, Baylor is right there. They played really good pre-shutdown. They had to shut down for COVID for a bit, and they came back, and there were some questions because they weren't as good. But in the tournament, they've really kicked it up. After that, it's pretty wide open.
So with Baylor, with their basketball, are they a lot less scandalous than their football team?
No.
No. Oh my God, what is it about the school?
It's just kind of the whole school thing with Baylor. They're always one of those schools that, pushes it right to the brink, just to, if you're not trying to see what you can get away with, you're not really trying.
That's true, though, of almost every successful college sports franchise throughout the last many decades.
You have to. And there's nothing wrong with that because, in a sense, it's kind of the way life is. You have to push it. You have to be aggressive. You have to, try to take that step to give yourself the advantage to get to wherever you want to go.
And not to use the playground taunt, but when everybody else is doing it, if you want to compete, you kind of got to do it in your own way as well. So with this weekend, so we're down to, because now that we're down to the Sweet 16, asking you this question doesn't give up any of your picks potentially, because I'm assuming you're going to have some picks throughout the Sweet 16.
Yes, we will have picks throughout. And by the way, we're hitting about 65% for the college basketball tournament to this point. So
do you envision like a major upset at this point? We got 3 number ones in there. We got teams like Oral Roberts and Loyola Chicago that are like way out there. Do you see another big headline this weekend?
I think another one will go down.
Ooh.
Isn't that a preacher person? Oral Roberts?
Yes, and that's his university.
Okay.
A preacher person. That's the technical term for who they named that university.
A mediator for God?
After.
Oh, my God.
So Sweet 16s this weekend, and then how are they spacing it out differently because of COVID?
Entirely. This year they ran the tournament the first weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This second round, they're going to go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's always Thursday through Sunday. So they're going to play through Tuesday. I believe they're still going to do the Final Four on Saturday and then the championship game on Monday.
The following weekend.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. I just haven't looked at the TV schedule to see it.
So you're obvious. I assume you're spending is your day morning to night watching sports?
Watching and handicapping sports. In my so-called office, which is great. I have 3 TVs. I have my desk. I turn on the games. I listen to various talk shows during the day. Just to hear what they're saying and just getting thoughts and caught up. I'm on the internet all the time, trying to find stories and really keeping up on injuries and various things like that and who's playing.
So to what degree does like listening to, let's say it's ESPN, whether it's radio, TV, or whatever, to what degree does that influence you? Or is it just like another knowledge point?
No, it's just another knowledge point. I've been listening to those shows with my work for 30 plus years. So, I know who I really listen to and who I don't. And for the most part, it's a knowledge source. On occasion, you'll get a tidbit like, hey, this guy's not going to play, or he's nursing a bad knee, or something's going on. Ooh, okay. And then, I have my little notepad right there, and I immediately take notes on all the different things that I hear so that when I go to handicap the game, I have that information in front of me.
So speaking of handicaps, if we jump to the NBA, which because you've had a lot of sports going on, even though for a lot of people it feels like not. You've got to be a real sports junkie for this to be a sports time for you, because a lot of people are salivating that next week baseball will be back, and of course we're still a football country. But you've had hockey and NBA and college basketball, and LeBron James went down last week, and it looks like from what I read he's out for about a month. Wow. And the Lakers are the defending champs. A lot of people believe that they had a real chance to repeat. How does it shift the paradigm of the power in the NBA?
It does, in the sense that the Lakers still have to make the playoffs. And one of the things that, I'm curious to see now is because the Lakers have been so good and they beat up on everybody. Now they're weak. Anthony Davis isn't there. He's out for at least a week or 2 more. LeBron's out for a month. These teams aren't going to take it easy on the Lakers. I mean, everyone gets up for them, and it's they always beat us. This is their opportunity to go beat the Lakers. So the Lakers have to hold on to make the playoffs. I'm no longer sitting there saying they're going to be a top seed. At this point, they just need to make the playoffs. But, Denver went out yesterday and made some trades. I think they've improved themselves. The Clippers are a really good team. Utah Jazz played great the first half. They struggled a little bit coming out of the block in the second half.
Still the best record at 32-11.
They're still a really good, and they're a balanced team. They're one of my favorite teams to watch play because They don't have any great superstars or anything like that. They just play great team basketball.
By the way, speaking of the Lakers, the 8th spot to get into the playoffs, there is the Spurs right now. They're only 4 games behind the Lakers, to your point of there's a lot of room to be had in a month.
Right. If the Lakers go 1-8 or something like that, I mean, they could easily slide, and it would be a shame for them if they didn't make the playoffs. But you know what? They got to play decent to stay in it.
In the East, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Nets are all neck and neck. The Nets are the team with the big names. Do you have a most talented team?
Without a question, the Nets are the most talented team because, with Durant, who's been out now for a while, Harden and Kyrie Irving, clutch time. Sorry, got to get that out. At that crunch time, all 3 can make the big shot. And they've all made the big shot. So, if one of them's off for the day, you could go to the other guy. Even if 2 of them are off, you got to believe one of the 3 is going to be able to make it. The problem with the Nets is their defense isn't very good, but their defense has been playing much better in really since the last time I called them out on it on this show.
See, they listened.
The Sixers is the 76ers?
Yes.
Jesus.
And they have a great player in Joel Embiid. He's one of the top 3 players in the league. It's just, and the team plays great defense. It's just, it's one guy who's a superstar, and in that crunch time, if they shut him down, it's difficult for the other guys on the team to be able to carry him and win.
My father-in-law loves basketball, and so he and my husband watch. My father-in-law and husband watch every night, and I'm like, it'll slide out. But they had the Kings on last night, and I honestly, first I wasn't sure. They had a lot of short. I don't know. They looked really young. I'm like, are they 12? Like, they just seemed so much smaller than, because they've had games on every night. My father-in-law and husband. And
God, you say that with such disdain.
I know, God. And it's like, and I don't know. A lot of these other guys seem just grown up and taller and bigger. And I was like, is this a pre-game or something? Or what the hell?
Well, the Kings are a rebuilding team, and they made some good trades yesterday. They just seem to have too many shooting guards. The shorter guys who like to shoot without any big men really to go with it. But, they're moving in the right direction, and the goal of every general manager is to make the roster better. I believe the Kings did that with their trades yesterday.
Yeah, we've been told for the last 18 years that the Sacramento Kings were moving in the right direction.
Hey, come on. I've been told for 51 years the Lions are moving in the right direction. I'm still hoping it's true someday.
By the way, I pulled this story because I knew at this point Dawn would be dozing off, and this would at least get her to listen again. You mentioned the trade deadline yesterday in the NBA. Every single active player in the NBA that's named Gary yesterday, like Dawn's husband, was traded. All 3 of them. All 3 of them.
Trade my Gary.
Gary Trent Jr., Gary Harris, and Gary Clark were all traded.
Is that a bad thing?
Yesterday. It depends on where you're going and what the move is.
Correct. You can look at it as, they're getting rid of them. But understand that they're all being sought by another team, so they're valuable. Just like Gary. Gary's a wonderful guy.
What a nice
He's
way
a
to look.
valued person.